He stoopeth down. He crouches as a lion. And as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come. And unto him shall be the gathering of the people be.
Now we understand this is Jesus. We understand he's the one that's going to gather the people. Read that next verse.
Binding his foal unto the vine.
Now he said, binding his foal unto the vine. Go ahead and read.
And his ass's coat unto the choice vine.
And binding his ass's coat unto the choice vine. Go ahead and read.
He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes.
Now he said, wash his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes. Let's go and deal with this now. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 9, and we'll begin reading at verse 9. Zechariah 9, and we'll begin at verse 9. Show you what this is dealing with here. Because all this is dealing with, here's this line of Judah. You know, here's this Shiloh, and unto him will be the gathering of the people. Here's the real shepherd of the sheep. Let's go now, Zechariah 9 and 9, and we're going to deal with what we just read in that 11th verse. Because we understand that that is Jesus that we are dealing with, but we're going to show you what that meant now. Zechariah 9 and 9. 9 and 9. Because it talked about binding his coat to the vine and his ass's foal to the choice vine. All of that meant something. You know, it wasn't just idle talk. Let's start reading here at 9 and 9. Go ahead and read.
Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem.
Now he said, rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion, and shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Go ahead and read.
Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation.
Now he's talking about the king of Jerusalem. Who is the king of Jerusalem? That is Jesus.
That's right.
He said, you know, thy king cometh, he is just, and he is having salvation. Go ahead and read on.
Lowly, and riding upon an ass.
And he's lowly, and he's riding upon an ass. Go ahead and read.
And upon a coat, the foal of an ass.
Coat, the foal. You know, that's what we just read over in Genesis, right? You know about him binding his coat to the vine and to the and his ass to the choicest vine. Right. Go ahead and read that next verse.
And I will cut off from the chariot. I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim.
Now, you know, when we read that in that 9th verse, that was Jesus at his first coming. And this is him at his second coming here in this 10th verse. And this is how they was looking for him. You know, they was expecting the Messiah to show up. But this is what they were expecting here in that 10th verse. They didn't understand that first he had to fulfill the 9th verse. And then when he returned, he's going to fulfill the 10th verse. This is what they were waiting for right here. And, you know, because the Romans had that yoke on Israel's neck when Jesus came the first time. So they was expecting somebody to come and take that yoke off their neck, but they didn't understand. First he had to come lowly and having salvation. They didn't understand that. And what is this salvation that he came having? That meant that he would come and die for the sins of the people. And I'm going to show you that is what that meant. Go ahead and finish that 10th verse. Go ahead and read.
And the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off.
Now all this he going to do at his second coming. You know, the battle bow going to be cut off, because when he comes this next time, he going to come as Lord of Lords and Kings of Kings, and he going to overthrow the nations with war. Go ahead and read on.
And he shall speak peace unto the heathen, and his dominion shall be from sea even to sea.
Now he said he going to speak peace unto the nation, and his dominion going to be from sea even to sea. You understand what I'm saying? Because when he returns, that is when he going to establish his kingdom on this earth, and that is when he going to reign from one end of the earth even unto the other. Go ahead and read on.
And from the river even to the ends of the earth.
And from the river even unto the ends of the earth. Now, you know, I told you about in that 9th verse, that was about his first coming, that he would come just and lowly and having salvation. And riding up on the coat, the foal of an ass, it said, right? And I said that he came the first time to shed his blood, to die for the sins of the people, that they might be delivered from spiritual bondage first. And this 11th verse going to tell you that. Go ahead and read on.
As for thee also,
go ahead,
by the blood of thy covenant.
See what I said? As for thee also by the blood of thy covenant. When did he come and shed the blood of his covenant? When he died, didn't he? Yep. So now he said, as for thee also by the blood of thy covenant. Go ahead and read on.
I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit wherein is no water.
I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit wherein there was no water. So he came to deliver man from a spiritual bondage. And he did that by the blood of his covenant. Now, when he returns, he's going to deliver them from a physical body. So now, you know, this 11th verse and this 9th verse go together, and this 10th verse is dealing with him at his second coming. Just so we'll understand that this is Jesus. Let's go over to Matthew chapter 21, and we'll begin reading at verse 1. Matthew 21, and we'll pick it up at verse 1. 21 and 1. Matthew 21 and 1. 21 and 1. Just so you'll understand that that is Jesus that we just read about here. You know, about him, coming lowly and having salvation, and tying his coat to the vine and his ass to the choice vine. Even all the way back in Genesis chapter 49, it told us about it. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Matthew 21 and begin reading at verse 1. 21 and 1. Okay. Go ahead and read.
And when they drew nigh unto Jerusalem, and were come to Bethphage, unto the mountain of Olives, then sent Jesus 2 disciples.
Now they came near to the mount, and Jesus sent out 2 of his disciples, and he sent them out to get a coat, the foal of an ass. Go ahead and read on.
Saying unto them, Go into the village over against you, and straightway ye shall find an ass tied, and a coat with her.
You're going to find an ass tied and a coat. Go ahead and read.
Loose them, and bring them unto me.
Now he said, you loose them and you bring them unto me. If anybody say anything to you, just say the master have need of. They ain't going to stop you. Go ahead and read up.
And if any man say aught unto you, you shall say, the Lord have need of them.
Go ahead.
And straightway he will send them.
All you got to do is just tell them, your Lord had everything set up, because the scripture must be fulfilled. Now you just go and get them. And if anybody just say anything to you, just say the master got need of them, and they're going to give them to you. You know, you ain't got to argue with them or nothing about it. He going to just give them to you. Because the scripture must be fulfilled. Who is this that's going to say this? Jesus which said this. Go ahead and read on.
All this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying.
Now he said this had to be done that it might be fulfilled that was spoken of by the prophet, saying. Go ahead and read.
Tell ye the daughter of Zion.
Go ahead.
Behold, thy king cometh unto thee, meek and sitting upon an ass, and a coat, the foal of an ass.
And he said, tell them that it might be fulfilled that was spoken of by the prophet. Tell ye the daughter of Zion, the king, you know, he coming, and he is just and having salvation and riding upon that. But then where did it start at? It started all the way back in Genesis 49, didn't it? About that line of Judah that's going to gather the people. And he said he would come and he would be meek and ride upon the ass. He said a coat and even the foal of an ass. That's where it started at in Genesis, right? But then we picked it up again in Zechariah, and now we understand in Matthew who that is that was referring to. Go ahead and read some more.
And the disciples went and did as Jesus commanded them.
Now, you know, and the disciples, they did as they were commanded to do. Now, you have these people, they were standing around there. They didn't understand this, but if they had understood the scripture, then they would know that this had to happen. But they didn't understand the scripture. Go ahead and read on.
And brought the ass and the coat, and put on them their clothes, and they set him thereon.
Go ahead.
And a very great multitude spread their garments in the way. Others cut down branches from the trees, and strawed them in the way.
Go ahead and read.
And the multitudes that went before and that followed cried, saying, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest.
So now Hosanna means save now. And this is what they were saying. You know, they set him on the ad, and they cried Hosanna to the Son of David. Go ahead and read on.
And when he was coming to Jerusalem, all the city was moved, saying, Who is this?
Now he came into Jerusalem, and all the city was moved. They said, now who is this? You know, they hollering some Hosanna to the Son of David. Save now. And you know, everybody, because they didn't understand the scripture, everybody looking at him saying, now who is this? Man, this man here, he couldn't be no king. You understand what I'm saying? Because look at what he riding on. Because ain't no king going to show up riding on no ass and a coat the foal of an ass. So we don't, who is this? They asked. Go ahead and read.
And the multitude said, This is Jesus, the prophet of Nazareth of Galilee.
Now they said, this is Jesus, the prophet of Galilee. And the reason is because the scripture had to be fulfilled. This is how he had to show